Hello, dear students. Welcome back to the channel all about biology. I'm back again with another exciting video, and the main focus of this video is that how our body uses the energy produced by the food. So, as we know that energy is required for our heart to beat, for the lungs to breathe, for eyes to blink, for the stomach walls to produce peristaltic movements, and obviously to lift heavy load and to do daily life activities. It's very important to find out that how our body produces the energy from the food which we eat. So the objectives of the lesson are after this video you would be able to understand the role of pancreas in the human body, the role of insulin in the human body, and then the underlying factors of diabetes. So we know that the food which we eat is passed through the digestive tract and ultimately it reaches stomach. In the stomach, the process of digestion happens and then this food is converted into the nutrients. One of the nutrients is glucose, which has to be absorbed by the cells, but for that it has to enter in the bloodstream. When the glucose will enter in the bloodstream, then obviously the glucose level of the blood would increase. Now, this glucose will be absorbed by the cells of the organs, for example, liver and muscles. So, as this blood sugar level increases in the blood, there is an organ in the body which is called pancreas, and then that pancreas would secrete insulin. This insulin would help the glucose molecules to be taken in easily by the cells. This process is called as glucose or sugar uptake. Now, when the cells will take up this sugar, they would use this sugar as the prime source of energy to do different sorts of work. So, this is how the insulin would bind to the insulin receptor. As a result, from the nucleus, the information would be sent to the cell membrane to open the glucose channels, and then these channels would be opened up, and the glucose would move into the cell, and as a result, energy will be produced, which will be used by the body to do different sorts of work. Now, this was all about the first hormone, insulin. But there's another hormone too, which is called as glucagon. It would tell the liver to release stored sugar if your blood sugar gets too low. Now, in the pancreas, there are cells which would secrete another hormone, GLP-1, which would help the pancreas to produce the right amount of insulin to move sugar from the blood into the cells. Insulin production would be increased when blood sugar level is too high so that this insulin can take this glucose back to the cells. As a result, the blood sugar level would decrease and glucagon would be secreted. But what happens in diabetes? So there are two types of diabetes. Type 1, in type 1 diabetes, the body makes little or no insulin. So what happens is that people with type 1 diabetes, they must take insulin every day. And it is usually diagnosed more often in children and young adults. So in type 2 diabetes, the body prevents the insulin it does make from working right. But the body may make some insulin, but not enough. And most people with diabetes, about 90%, they have type 2 diabetes. And this type of diabetes usually happens in people who are older or in those who are overweight. So, this is the summary of what happens to the food which we eat. So, in the gut, the nutrients are absorbed, and as a result, one of the nutrient is glucose. So, as a result, it would raise blood sugar level. When the blood sugar level will increase, it would lead to the secretion of insulin by pancreas. When insulin will be secreted, then it would stimulate the formation of this glucose into glycogen, or it would stimulate this glucose uptake by the other cells, which include muscle cells, kidney cells, and fat cells. As a result, this glucose will be converted into glycogen, and what will happen? The blood glucose level will decrease. Now, the low blood sugar level is also not good, so it would promote the secretion of glucagon. Now there is increased glucagon production in the blood. Now this increased glucagon will convert glycogen back to glucose. Now remember, this conversion of glucose to glycogen and glycogen back to glucose happens in the liver. So when this glucagon will convert glycogen into glucose, the blood sugar level will again increase. And as a result, this cycle will continue. So here's another summary to this process. What happens is that when the blood glucose level rises, the pancreas would release insulin. As a result of this secretion of insulin, the cells would take up glucose, and as a result, the blood sugar level would decrease. When the blood sugar level will decrease, the pancreas would release another hormone which is called glucagon. Now, this glucagon will convert glycogen back to glucose and it would lead to the increase in the blood glucose level. But how insulin is linked with diabetes? To find it out, you have to watch the second video. I hope you have found this video interesting. It would help you in clarifying the concepts of how insulin works in the human body. Keep watching.